Welcome back. All right, we have worked on processing grief, going a bit deeper into understanding of our parents, right? Being able to understand them, what their upbringing was like, so that we can find acceptance within ourselves, to be able to have a little bit more empathy towards them and forgiveness. Again, I'll reiterate, it doesn't negate anything they've done, but it just helps us understand them a little bit better. So we've worked on moving this energy. If you see me looking down, I have a lot of notes to go over for this one. So I'm just trying to make sure that I am going to hit all the points that I want to hit today while we discuss attachment. We've worked on moving a lot of the energy so that we can change our stories for our own healing. All right, because we can't move forward by always looking back. I've heard it, I know I heard recently Tony Robbins said it, somebody else said it before probably, but you can't drive a car by looking through the rearview mirror, right? Just continuously, you can't go forward that way, right? We look back, kind of see what there is, and then go. So just kind of a metaphor to have in mind with life. So what we can learn, though, is there's a lot of things from our past that we can use as ways to help us to be able to move forward and live the life that we desire, show up the way we want to in our lives and with the people around us. So by understanding our attachment style, which is what we're going to be talking about today, it can really help you to gain that valuable information and insight about yourself and the dynamics of the different relationships and emotional bonds that you have within your life. Our attachment style with our parents or our caregivers really influences our relationships with other people in general, and especially our intimate relationships. So I'm going to go over the different types, the different styles of attachment. So we will start with, there's 4 different types. So you have anxious attachment, avoidant attachment, disorganized attachment, and secure attachment. So the anxious attachment is going to often result from an inconsistency during childhood. So the parents weren't always there. There'd be this anxiety about if they were going to be around to take care of certain things. So the absent parents or caregivers would really cause this kind of anxiousness within the child, right? Because you're going, okay, are they going to be here to provide? Are they going to show up for me? Are they going to pick me up from this event? Or what is the thing? Anxious attached people often become people pleasers. I'm sure a lot of us can raise our hands of being like, oh, I want to please everyone. I want everyone to be happy around me. And so the anxious attached person is often that, like, how can I make this person happy? And then kind of disregard our own needs. So we'll sacrifice our own needs. We become the martyr in order to maintain the relationships with people. And then at the same time, also often expects to be rejected. So there's always like this desire to regain closeness with somebody if you're feeling anxious, and yet you have that fear of abandonment. So there's this fear. This person's going to reject me. I'm going to be abandoned, but I want to get closer to them. And there's this nervousness then that rises up. Then we have the avoidant attachment. So avoidant attachment might retreat from relationships. So as opposed to that trying to get closer, they're going to physically and emotionally distance themselves. So you might find that if you have an avoidant attachment style, that you feel overwhelmed if others are really like relying heavily on you. And there's just like this fear of getting too close and feeling smothered. And at the same time, you have this thought maybe of, oh, if I get too close, you're going to abandon me anyway. So still kind of an abandonment issue like the anxious, except instead of trying to vie to get closer, it's I'm going to keep you at a distance because you're probably going to leave anyway. So I don't even want to get close and get attached. So you find reasons then to delay having intimacy with others. And avoidant attachment is also called insecure avoidant or dismissive. So those might be other words that you hear in regards to this attachment style. The next one is disorganized attachment, also referred to as fearful avoidant. So somebody who might be fearful avoidant, disorganized attachment, oftentimes is someone who has experienced a lot more trauma in their lives, emotional, physical, sexual, whatever the trauma was when they were younger especially. So if this is you, you may have experienced very untrusting relationships with others, especially caregivers. Oftentimes this might be that they were addicts. And so if you had caregivers who were addicts and they were very much involved in drugs, they weren't paying attention to you, so you became neglected. You might feel unworthy. You start overanalyzing everything. You become very hypervigilant of your situation, overanalyze everything that's going on. What is that person doing? What does it really mean? What are they thinking? And so you crave the love that you didn't get to have because of the type of caregivers that you may have had that weren't paying attention to you. So you're craving this love, but then you also expect like a betrayal. So a little bit like this attachment style kind of mixes like the anxious and the avoidant, right? Like I really, really crave being close. I also very much expect that you're going to betray me, going to abandon me. So it becomes like this fear in there. Instead of just being a little anxious about it and nervous, there's like this really great fear. And so there's these emotional extremes. You may have like really great highs and then really low lows. And so this can really cause a lot of issues when it comes to other relationships with friends or other like intimate relationships. Because you can become very dependent on this other person. And then at the same time, you're also very highly like anxious within the relationship. So it can just cause a lot of ups and downs, a lot of variables. And then we have secure attachment. So the thing that we all are like hoping to have, want to have, and hopefully you're able to, maybe at this point you're either watching this and going through this process because you have been working on creating steps to have a more secure attachment and relationship with people in your lives. Maybe you don't want to pass down some of these same traits that happen like with your parents to you. You want to be able to give your kids a better opportunity. If you are here right now and you are watching this, then no matter what, like we're all going to screw up something, right? We're all going to not know all the things. Something will go wrong. I was watching a video by Dr. Gabor Mate. He's from Canada, I believe. He does a lot of research about trauma, childhood trauma, how it affects us growing up and in our adult lives, and also does a lot of research with addiction and things like that. And so when I was watching this video on him, he was talking to a lady in the audience who said, I'm afraid to bring kids into this world, and what if I mess them up? Like, what if I do these things? You know, my parents weren't there for me. I don't remember the list of things that she mentioned regarding her parents, but she talked about how she has this fear of then doing some of these things and not raising her kids the way, you know, the ideally way that she would want. And he said, if your mother had come to me prior to having you and asked these same questions, would it have made a difference for you? Like just knowing that she was trying and seeking that assistance and help along the way. And the lady said yes. So if you are here now seeking that help for yourself to heal your own wounds, then know that you're already ahead of the game of being able to help pour these learning experiences into your children and into your life now. Right? So you're able to take that knowledge and say, okay, I know that life's going to happen and there's going to be some mishaps, but I'm going to do the best I can, and I am seeking out mentorship. I'm seeking out ways to learn to create healthier boundaries, healthier relationships, stronger emotional bonds. So you're already doing these things. So don't have fear about how your kids will turn out, as long as you are nurturing them in ways that you know that you wanted to be nurtured. You're already ahead of the game. So I just wanted to share that little bit of tidbit. Secure attachment. So a secure attachment would mean that you usually had available and supportive parents. You desire intimacy and independence, and you're able to balance both of those, manage emotions, and have healthy communication. And then you were likely taught that you can be safe while being vulnerable, and that your needs were going to be met. So you didn't have fear about going to your parents about things. You can go to them and say, hey, this is what's going on. And even if you were feeling really insecure and like kind of scared or nervous about something, they made you feel safe, right? They made you feel like you can come to me at any time and I'm here for you. You can speak to me about these things. I'm not going to get mad at you. I will help you through whatever the thing is. So that would be what a secure attachment would be like. So if you're able to provide that for your children, for anyone that you mentor, then know that that's going to help them with their attachment style. So something I have also learned, and something I'm hoping that you're learning in this process also, is that we can become more secure within our attachments. So no matter what happened to us in the past, and the anxious, the avoidant, the disorganized, whatever it was, and wherever we're at even now, we can work towards having more secure attachments with our relationships. And if you are able to be in a relationship with somebody who has a secure attachment, it makes it even like easier then to become like have a secure attachment yourself. We raise up actually, right? So you don't have to worry about, oh, my partner's secure and I'm not, and what if that brings them down? No, more than likely you will raise up to having more security, because they will help you to feel that nurturance that you've been missing. So a few extra notes that I have written. Anxious attached people often have a sensitive nervous system. So this is that kind of like that hypervigilance that it might come out. You feel and notice like you might be empathic. You can really feel everything. And your nervous system might even be on edge a bit. Definitely need to work on, if you're always on edge, to be able to help relax and work through that, develop the coping skills for that. But just know that sensitive nervous system is one of the things. Struggling with communication. So how are you with your communication? Anxious attached people often struggle with communication. They become overly needy, also act out, and become clingy. So it's kind of a both thing. I'm going to cling to you. You don't do something, you don't show up. I'm going to act out, but I'm needy. So it can kind of go back and forth. Anxious attached people often have lower self-esteem and need reassurance. They need to hear that they're doing well, that they look beautiful, and they might negate anything you say. Even though you've said you look beautiful. Oh, no. You're doing really great on this project. And you start minimizing because you don't know how to accept that. So just know that is one of those things. Be mindful, look out for that. I'm going to ask that you learn to just say thank you. So I learned a long time ago, just say thank you. All right? Somebody tells you you look beautiful, thank you. You're doing great, thank you. Even if you don't fully believe it right now, just say thank you. It makes a huge difference because one, you will start to believe these things by saying it, but also the other person who has given you a compliment, if you negate them, how does that make them feel? Right? They're trying to give you a compliment, and if you don't accept it, then either they might stop giving the compliments, they might feel like, oh, they don't care what I have to say, when really, honestly, you probably do. You probably really appreciated it. So tell them thank you, because that's giving them the gift of you receiving. All right? Anxious people also, where am I at? We crave emotional intimacy, but worry others don't want to be with us. Or get mad about the person going, mad about them returning. And this actually goes back to a study they did with babies many years ago. They put babies in the room. Mom would be in there. Mom would leave the room. They would observe the babies. The mom would go back in the room. They would observe how the baby reacted when the mom came back. The babies that were anxiously attached would cry when the mom would leave, but then would cry also when the mom would return, like they were mad. Like, I'm mad at you for leaving, and I'm mad at you even though you've returned. The avoidant, they did the same thing with babies, with that one, with the avoidant attachment. And for them, when the moms would leave and come back, they would almost be like mad, but not like cry. They would just like avoid them, like, oh, you've returned. And so they started to notice, like, okay, like, this is how this kid is attached to this parent due to however the environment that they're living in. So avoidant attachment style often downplay the importance of relationships. That's not really that important. It's there. Just very downplay, very independent. So like think of like extremely self-resilient, extremely independent. I don't need anyone's help. I can do everything. Anything that anyone else can do, I can do it just fine on my own. Right? I don't need your help. When really we are naturally meant to be helpful and be with community, with other people. We're meant to help each other. We're meant to accept, receive that help, give that help. But avoidant attachment have had to learn to be very independent because of whatever their upbringing was. So then because of that, it's hard. Relationships become difficult because now you have somebody that might want to help, but I can do it without you. I'm independent. I don't need someone else. But also very vulnerable. So it's an interesting dynamic to be the avoidant attachment and be like, I'm very vulnerable, but yet I'm going to avoid any emotional connection because I think they're going to abandon me anyway. I'm going to withdraw, and I'm super independent. I can take care of myself. So pay attention if that describes you. And then the disorganized. Remember, disorganized was also fearful avoidant. So these people would be dependent on relationships and fear of rejection. So that is that very much like, I'm really scared this person's going to leave me, but I'm really dependent. And you can create a trauma cycle. So if somebody had trauma growing up and then they end up in a relationship with somebody abusive, they will stay because they become dependent on that relationship, regardless of how that person might be treating them. Right? They're afraid of being rejected. They are afraid then, like, this person claims they love me, I don't want to leave, and now I'm being rejected here, I'd be rejected elsewhere. So it can become a very bad cycle to be in. We see it a lot in substance abuse, where there's these cycles that happen. It can be broken. It really can. Take some work. It's helpful to have mentors around, helpful to have support groups. But yeah, because this can be a very psychological thing where the cycle can continue. Very low self-esteem, very high anxiety, and just very dependent on, I need this person to be here, and if they reject me, I don't know where I'd go, I don't know what I'd do, I don't know how to function on my own. And then there's just like this inconsistency. So there is help. You can get through it. If you do find that this is you, you definitely can get through it. I can help, and there are many of support groups that can be able to help to work through this. And again, the disorganized is a little bit of like the anxious and the avoidant. So you may have heard different pieces of different attachment styles that you resonate with. And at times we might resonate with a little bit of any of the attachment styles. Obviously, we're wanting to work towards secure attachment so that we can feel comfortable in our own skin and be confident, so that we can be comfortable around other people and be able to communicate clearly and not feel anxious when they go to the store, like they're going to come back. Things like that, right? So it takes practice with anything on being able to help yourself reintroduce yourself, be around people who are secure, be around people who make you feel safe. So secure people trust others fairly easily. They are in tune with their emotions, so they can feel and know when certain emotions are rising, are able to control them. Now we all have our moments, secure attachment or not. Something can piss somebody off and they could still be triggered by it, right? It doesn't mean that every single secure attached person that something angers them that they're just cool, calm, and collected. But there are ways to help at least calm yourself faster. There are ways to respond without, punching a wall, hitting something, whatever, things like that. So breaking things, those are destructive. So we're wanting to be able to go to, okay, something's made someone mad, but instead of a response that makes it like escalate, what can we do to calm ourselves and understand, okay, these emotions have come up, where is this stemming from? Is it really just this event of this thing that just happened? Or is there something underneath that I need to address because I am feeling this emotion? Secure attachment. People are good with communication. I mentioned that. They are cooperative and flexible and quickly at ease. I have written there, which is what I've just explained, that they're pretty quick to be able to calm back down. So I just wanted to kind of give an overview. There is so much information out there on the internet, in books, many podcasts. You can find some TED Talks. There's a lot of stuff on attachment. Quick little thing, everyone is human. I am human. While creating this material, I've read a few different books. I've been watching different things, reading different things, and going, okay, I want to make sure to have these main points. And different things came up regarding my own attachment and different scenarios and things regarding between like me and my mother, me and other people I know, how I look at the world with in regards to intimate relationships. So there's these things that came up for me as I'm going through this material. This overview, I don't feel that the overview itself should bring too much up, but there are resources I have provided that as you go through them if you decide to read the books. I've listened to some of them on audio. For me, that's a little easier. So if you listen to the books or read the books, just know that some things might come up. Things come up within yourself. So just like as we're going through the painting process, how certain things come up, and then being able to process them. So disclaimer, right? I know I've put disclaimers multiple times to this, but we're all human. And when something comes up, it means it's ready to be addressed, right? So you could be reading on some information and going, okay, I understand this. I'm good. No problems here. And a couple days later, something comes up and you're like, where did that come from? Because you're like, I already dealt with that. Why is that coming back into my life right now? That's just kind of how the universe works sometimes. So I'm human. You are too. Just give yourself some grace. I will be back to talk about the next one should be on the trauma we can't remember. And then I'm going to talk a little bit more about attachment, a little more specifically in regards to intimate relationships. Any relationship in general, but especially intimate relationships. So I'm hoping this gave you kind of an overview of just like, here are the 4 attachment styles, where do I resonate, and then that way you kind of have an idea of like what each one looks like. You can kind of build a pinpoint, like I know then like what my style is. I can also then see what my parents' style was or is, right? Because I can see, oh, this is how they act around whatever situation, so that's definitely this one style. So you can kind of start to see how it plays out in different people's lives. But yes, I'll come back. We'll talk about, I guess, some of the trauma things that you can't remember, and talk about how attachment actually affects your relationships now. All right, talk to you soon.